One of the biggest questions I get is, do you really need college to get into IT? Or can you just grind it out with self-study? Or are boot camps actually worth it? For me, I came from teaching. I was standing in front of a classroom one year, and the next I'm grinding nights and weekends trying to break into IT. I didn't have a clear roadmap, I wasted a lot of time on the wrong things, and I definitely felt burnout. But what did help me was committing to certifications, building a home lab, and forcing myself to keep going when it got frustrating. Looking back, some things worked, some didn't. And that's exactly why I want to lay out the pros and cons of each path for you in this video. So today we'll be breaking down the pros and cons of college, self-study, and boot camps. The mistakes some beginners make, what the actual journey from zero to first IT job looks like, and my honest take on which route makes sense. Let's start with the path that most beginners think they should take. College. College absolutely has its pros. You're going to walk away with a degree, which still carries some weight with some employers. You also get a built-in network of classmates and professors, and you're forced to stick to a structured schedule. For some people, that accountability is exactly what they need. But here's the reality. College is by far the most expensive way to get into IT. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars, and it's years of your life. 4 years minimum if you're doing the traditional route, and a lot of what you cover is theory heavy. You come out with a foundation, sure, but you may not come out with the hands-on skills that make you job ready day one. Now, there are exceptions. I've seen people fly through a school like WGU, crank out a degree quickly, and come out with a solid mix of certs and experience. If you're hyper motivated, smart about your time, and ready to grind, college can be worth it. But for most people looking to switch careers into IT, it's a huge investment of time and money compared to the other paths I'll talk about. That's why a lot of career changers end up looking for faster, more affordable ways in. Now let's talk about self-study, which is the path that I actually took. The big upside is cost. It's going to be cheap compared to college or a boot camp. You can grab books, use YouTube, get some practice tests, maybe some lab software, and then that's enough to start building skills. You can control the pace and the price. But here's where most beginners get tripped up. And I saw this over and over when I was teaching and even now in IT. They bounce between random resources with no roadmap. They focus on only memorizing the facts of a cert instead of really understanding the content. They never build projects, so they come out with no portfolio. And honestly, without accountability, a lot of people burn out halfway through. To be honest, I felt some of that myself. I did push through. I went after the CompTIA trifecta, studied for CCNA. I built home labs in VMware, and it worked. I eventually landed my first IT job, but it took me the better part of a year of nights and weekends, and plenty of time just spinning my wheels when I got stuck. Meanwhile, I've had coworkers who went through boot camps and got structured projects, career guidance, and a big portfolio right away. They hit the ground running way faster than I did. So yes, self-study can work. I'm proof. But it's the slowest, loneliest path, and most people don't make it to the finish line without structure. That's why a lot of folks look at boot camps to avoid these mistakes and get momentum going quicker. So let's talk about boot camps and how they fit into the journey from zero to your first IT job. The biggest value of a boot camp is structure. Remember those beginner mistakes I mentioned with self-study? No roadmap, no accountability, no portfolio. With TripleTen, who I've partnered with on this video, you're not locked into just one path. They've got programs in software engineering, data science, cybersecurity, quality assurance, UX, UI design, business intelligence analytics, and even AI automation, which is the course that I chose to hop into. The way it's set up is through sprints. In my AI and automation course, Sprint 1 is all about AI tools and prompt engineering. Sprint 2 moves into large language models. Sprint 3 is going to be AI and automation. And then Sprint 4 dives into the advanced applications of AI. Each sprint is broken down into chapters. And then at the end, you actually build a project that forces you to apply what you just learned. By the time you finish, you don't just know concepts. You've got a portfolio full of projects that you can actually show employers. Now, the platform actually helps you stay on track. When you log in, there's a calendar that lays out sprint deadlines, tutoring hours, office hours, and then we also have group study sessions. Back when I was self-studying, I had none of that. I was just Googling and trying to figure out what to do next. Having everything laid out visually keeps things moving and makes it harder to fall off track. And the support is real. You can message tutors, join meetups, and collaborate with other students within the platform. It's not just watch a video and figure it out. You actually have people to lean on. That kind of accountability is what keeps you going when life gets busy or you hit a tough topic. On top of that, TripleTen offers externships with real companies. So instead of just practicing projects, you're solving a real-world problem that matters to a business. Those externship projects go straight onto your resume. And that's the kind of thing that recruiters want to see. I've had coworkers come in from boot camps with that type of experience, and they were way more confident in interviews and faster on the job than I was when I was trying to piece things together myself. Then there's the career side. I remember that that being the scariest part. Not the career studying, but what comes after. It's one thing to finish a course, but it's a whole other thing to actually try and land a job. I personally felt stuck at that point, unsure of how to frame my experience or where to even begin with interviews. That's where TripleTen's approach really stood out to me. They set you up with resume reviews, interview prep, and career coaching. One of the program's most reassuring features is its 100% money-back guarantee. If you don't secure a job within 10 months of graduation, they will refund your tuition. And the numbers back it up. About 82% of TripleTen grads land a job within 6 months, and over half before they even finish. The median starting salary is around $70K, and a lot of these positions are remote, which is a big deal if flexibility matters to you. TripleTen offers flexible payment options, so the educational costs are around $200 a month. And let's be honest, making a big career shift is nerve-wracking. I remember hesitating for months because I was terrified of spending time and money and not having it work out. That's why I think TripleTen's money-back guarantee is such a big deal. I wish I'd had that type of safety net when I was switching careers. I remember trying to self-study after long teaching days, late nights, weekends, and just sheer burnout. And I know I'm not alone in that. When you're juggling work, kids, or other responsibilities, time becomes your most limited resource. It's incredibly hard to stay consistent when your schedule is packed and unpredictable. You're often forced to choose between taking care of your life and investing in your future, and that's a brutal position to be in. That's why having something structured but still flexible makes a career change feel so much more realistic. The ability to log in from anywhere, whether it's during your lunch break, after putting the kids to bed, or early in the morning before the day begins, is a game changer. You're not commuting to a classroom and you're not locked into a rigid timeline. That kind of flexibility allows you to keep moving forward without putting everything else on pause. One of the biggest selling points here is flexibility. Coming from my own experience, I know how much burnout you face trying to juggle studying and working at the same time. Having something structured that works around your work schedule makes changing careers something that's so much more realistic. TripleTen programs are 100% online, and you can choose to do them part-time or full-time depending on your situation. That's huge if you're working or have a family. You don't have to quit your job to make the switch. So how do you know which path of the three is actually right for you? Here's a simple checklist you can ask yourself. Do I want or need a degree for long-term goals? Am I disciplined enough to learn on my own without accountability? Do I want a faster, more structured way in with real projects and career support? How much time can I realistically commit? And then what's my budget and how fast do I want to make the switch? Answering those honestly will point you towards the right option. And if you're still not sure, that's exactly where something like TripleTen's free career consultation comes in. When I was first thinking about switching careers, I'll be honest, I was lost. I didn't know where to start. Should I learn to code? Should I get a tech degree? Was it all about building apps or messing with machine learning? I was Googling for hours, bouncing between random articles, second guessing myself the whole time, and wondering if I was just wasting months chasing the wrong thing. What I actually needed back then was somebody who knew the industry to point me in the right direction, to help me figure out which path made sense instead of me just guessing. Before you ever commit, TripleTen offers a free career consultation. You can hop on a call with an advisor, figure out whether software engineering, QA, data science, or any of their other tracks make sense for you, and just see if the program feels like a fit. Before we wrap up, I want to give you a couple personal tips for staying motivated. First, celebrate the small wins. Passing a practice test, fixing something in your home lab, or even just finishing a sprint, those are the moments that matter for building and keeping momentum. Second, don't do it alone. Find a community, whether it's coworkers, online study groups, or mentors who can push you forward and keep you accountable. I can tell you from personal experience, even having just one person to check in with makes a big difference. And third, regularly review your progress. Every few weeks, look back at what you've learned and where you're headed. This keeps you from drifting and reminds you how far you've already come. Trust me, motivation comes and goes. But if you build systems like these, you'll keep moving forward even on the tough days. So to wrap it all up, college gives you the degree and accountability, but it's expensive and takes years. Self-study can work. I did it, but most people burn out without structure. Bootcamps like TripleTen give you structure, support, and a faster entry point into tech. Improve your career using my code JAKE for 30% off of all their programs. And click the link in the description or scan this QR code for a free career consultation. At the end of the day, no matter which path you pick, the most important thing is to start. Don't wait another year to change your life.